Happy Friday, Ronchar Ranchers. I hope everybody had a good couple of weeks. Ours has been eventful, to say the least. First off, I just want to say that this is going to be the last Friday Facebook Live. It gets dark way too early. So we're going to switch to Saturdays until the spring when it gets light out again, and then we'll switch back to Fridays. But what has made it so eventful is I'd like to introduce you to Bill. Bill, we got on Monday. We drove out to Syracuse to get him. He is a 23-year-old gray Percheron. He is the result of our spring initiative, where we put the ad in the paper that the rural communities all get. And his situation was that the owner had him for 22 years, and he was their rock star. He taught all the younger horses how to pull and drive, and he was their steady Eddie. However, as he is getting older, they wanted to make sure that he wasn't overworked and that he had a good place to go, and that's why they contacted us. We have been talking for a few weeks. We actually went out to see Bill prior to bringing him to the facility. And it has taken a couple of days for him to get used to being here. He didn't spend his entire 22 years at the same farm. The family had just moved to the Syracuse area, so that actually worked to our advantage because he was used to being trailered. He had been trailered not even 6 months before, and he hadn't become attached to that place. So I think that kind of worked in our advantage. This is huge for him to be in the barn eating. He just actually started doing that just a couple of days ago. The first day he was out in the middle of the pasture. That is where he was comfortable. He didn't venture very far. He knew he came through a gate somewhere out there, and that's where he stood. Over the ensuing days, he got closer and closer to the barn. However, he was just standing by the center line. The boys were very interested in him, and that's how he got accustomed. The weather was lousy, so the boys stayed up close, and I think that also helped ease him in. And now, as you can see, he eats his hay in here, thankfully, and now he's eating grain. The first couple of days, actually until yesterday, is when he started eating grain. He would not eat the Purina Senior feed. So I left it alone, and I let him get settled in. And then we get J&S feed out of Castile for Louie, and Louie gets the senior feed and the J&S feed. The J&S feed is specifically made for pulling horses. So it's perfect for him. And we're just starting him slowly on it. Just started with a handful to see if he would even eat it, and he has. So we're slowly increasing his amounts. And he's a very fast eater. It doesn't take him very long to wolf it down. So he is a very, very sweet soul. He is, like I said, his personality is coming out a little more. He wants to be curious, but he's also very cautious. Today was the first time that he started following me around while I was cleaning up his area. And it's just those little things. It's a lot for him, you know, to be that long with one family. That is really what I was very concerned about, is that, you know, that transition at his age. But fortunately, he seems to be pretty mellow, like the family said he was, and seems to be doing okay. Dr. Lauren is coming in on Tuesday to do an exam of him and make sure that everything is okay. There's a couple things that I'm concerned about, or I want to talk to her about. Not anything horrible. Just a couple things that I've seen with him. You know, when you go and visit a horse and you're only there for maybe half an hour, it's very hard to, you know, assess them and see them walk and all of that, even though we ask for all of that stuff. It's not the same as them being in a quote unquote natural environment and walking around and doing normal things on a day-to-day basis. So, you know, we're getting to know each other, and it's going to take a little while. It always does. So I will keep you guys updated with that. But I just wanted to let you see Bill. And Bill is the name that he came with. He knows it. We're not going to change it. You know, normally we do change their names if they don't know it to something else. A lot of the rural community horses all have the same names. So, you know, like Solomon was Tom, and there's, you know, Bill or Betty or Bess or Bert. For a female, I still don't understand that, but okay. So because he knows his name, he responds to it. We're just going to leave it as Bill. And I'm sure over time we'll come up with a little nickname for him that maybe we'll add on to Bill, and we'll start using that in conjunction with his name. But he does need a good grooming. That will be happening this weekend. He is all full of burrs, and on a personal note, I can't stand it. So he will get a spa treatment, or as much of a spa treatment as he can handle, and we'll get those burrs out. They're all over his feathers. They're all over his mane. There's some in his tail. So we'll work on it. We'll see how much he can tolerate, and it might be a couple of day process, but we'll get there. All right, Roan Chan Ranchers, that's it. He is in quarantine. You may be wondering why he's up here. Our quarantine area, with all the rain that we got, is underwater, to put it nicely. There's some, it just couldn't handle the amount of, the sheer amount of rain that we got, and I didn't feel comfortable putting him in there. So he is being quarantined up here. We never took down the center line from Solomon and Pumpkin, so that's still up. He did find out what electric was in a not so nice way. We had the he was all over the center line, and I was questioning it if the electricity was running through it, and that thought entered my mind, and as soon as it entered my mind, he got zapped. So he's gotten zapped twice. He doesn't quite understand when it's on and when it's off. When I feed, I do turn it off so that I can zip through the lines to get back and forth between the two sides. Yes, I am doing quarantine protocol. I switch out boots. I do all bunch of stuff so that one isn't contaminated with the other. So yesterday, the same thing. He didn't understand that it was back on, and he touched it and he got zapped again. So, he's learning though. He's fine with all the rest of the lines, the rest of the fencing. It's just that center line that he's not understanding that he can't touch it yet, but he'll get there too. Anyway, Ronchar Ranchers, I will give you guys an update on what Dr. Lauren says on Tuesday, and we will go from there. I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and we will talk soon. Be well, Ronchar Ranchers.